Good evening, college football fans. On Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, a special edition of the USC post-game live chat. We're doing a pregame, and we have a special guest for you during this USC bye week. We have the Trojan. We have the leader, the drum major from the USC Trojan Marching Band, otherwise known as the Spirit of Troy. I welcome Jacobo Herrera. Jacobo, welcome.
Fight on, yeah. I'm happy to be
Fight
here.
on. Want to introduce you to all the viewers in our chat. We've got college football diehard fans from all across the country, including USC. I want to introduce you to my co-host, Tony Altamore, who's also a graduate or undergrad from USC, and Tim Prangley Jr., who has 2 degrees from USC.
Fight on.
Welcome.
Yeah, Trojans everywhere. I love it.
Tell us real quickly a little bit about the Spirit of Troy that you could tell somebody who's not from USC, is not from Southern California, and maybe even hasn't seen the USC Marching Band.
So the USC Marching Band, the Spirit of Troy, is so unique. There's nothing like it really anywhere else. Just the way we integrate into, well, first of all, we're called Hollywood's band. That's kind of what we've coined. And, we're always doing gigs. We're always moving. You'll see us on TV. You'll see us, on Hollywood Boulevard. You'll see us performing with big name artists. You'll see us at football games. And we like to get active. We dance and we play fun music. We're not, we're not one of those other bands that will just play, the marches and do parade stuff. We really like to have fun, and we'll always update our charts, and you'll hear new stuff. And yeah, just no one, as soon as you see us, you'll know nobody does it like we do. So,
well, without further ado, Tony, let's fire it up. Let's give the fans a quick little video of the Trojan Marching Band in action.
All right.
I'm all fired up. Let's go, Trojans.
Fight on. I like it.
Great. Jacobo, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, how you got into music, and ultimately how you decided to attend USC.
Oh, wow. I'm going to be talking for a while then. So I'm local. I grew up in San Bernardino, specifically Rialto. By the time I got to high school, I went to Redlands East Valley High School is my alma mater. I've kind of always wanted to do music. One of my earliest kind of memories is this Nickelodeon show called the Naked Brothers Band. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's pretty much this little kid rock show, and they want to be like, they want to be rock stars. So growing up, like I wanted to be a rock star, and as soon as I got the opportunity for someone in my elementary school, at least, here's an instrument if you want to do it, and I did it, and I was always kind of involved, and middle school, I went through band and I did the whole thing, and then high school came and I really did it. So I was in the marching band in high school, and I did a lot of marching band. I spent my summers doing this thing called Drum Corps International, and in the marching band world, it's kind of like, I want to say, the pros a little bit. The best way I can describe it to someone else is it's like the NFL for marching band.
Oh, wow.
Really hard to get into. You spend your whole summer doing this thing. It's literally like 3 months of just straight marching band. It's very clean. The shows are elegant. The finals are at Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Colts. So it's pretty big. Performance stadiums everywhere. So I spent a handful of my years in high school doing that. And then, as soon as I got, the letter, the opportunity, like, you can be a Trojan, I knew immediately, like, I was going straight to the band, like, no matter what.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. So tell us, what are you studying? Obviously you're a student at USC. What are you studying currently?
Yeah, so I'm studying music industry, actually. And that's really unique to USC because I believe, if I remember the fact correctly, it's the only school in the entire nation that has music industry for undergrad. So this is a program only offered by USC. I really learned the ins and outs of the music industry. And there's so many different routes I could take. A couple of my peers are studying to be music lawyers, so they're going to take the bar after they get their degree.
Oh, wow.
Some people go straight into producing. Some people manage artists. Other people want to be artists. Other people do tech. They manage sound. They do live shows, concerts, that sort of thing. So I'm always just running around LA at this point.
That's great. And tell us, what year are you at SC right now?
Yeah, I'm a junior. It's my third year here of undergrad, and yeah.
Any idea of what you would like to do upon graduation? Have you given it that much thought, or you're still trying to figure it out?
Right now, I'm really just, since it's my third year, I'm really looking to go to do some internships and kind of figure that out more. I do know I want to pursue higher level education, so fingers crossed. USC likes me enough, I get into the grad school, and I'll probably continue my education there.
Cool. Well, hey, I know Tony's got a question to ask you. So Tony, fire away, my friend.
All right, Jacobo, we want to know, we have fans watching from all over the Pac-12 and all over the country. So in addition to USC, what are some of your favorite other stadiums, and how is the game day experience different from what you experience at USC from the other schools? Because you've got to travel all around the country.
I'm just gonna say this: there's nothing's gonna beat the Coliseum. The Coliseum is so iconic. But I wouldn't say my favorite, but the most like static energy, like the stadium that I have been to is at Oregon State and Corvallis. Man, those their fans, they really show up. Being there was really crazy. Their stadium is under construction actually, and it's a bit smaller, so it was really packed, like head to toe, like every seat, and they were loud, like and just the way acoustics work, that it's smaller and they're so loud, and yeah, getting out, marching out of that stadium with that wind, it felt nothing like it. Like, it was so great, and their fans were pretty loyal to their team, and I guess that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm happy we came out with a W.
Worded like a diplomat.
Yeah, I'm trying my hardest.
Where are there places that are especially welcoming to you guys, that you do things with the other bands, or are you guys pretty much just on your own?
Generally, no. A lot, because we are college students, a lot of our free time is just given to us. It's like, hey, do whatever you want, show up at 3 and then we're going to do this thing. Something that happens at away games is the other bands will provide us with like snacks, like goodie bags, and it's like a gesture of, hey, like, hi. Or sometimes they'll have their leadership come up and talk to us. Me personally, I haven't really talked to any other drum major or leadership, just because if you really watch us, we're standing the entire game and we're playing the entire game. So, like that never stops. So I guess during the game, we don't take any quarters off. We don't even really take halftime off. We're always playing. We're always yelling for the team. We're always yelling at the other team. You know, we're always filled with energy. So yeah, I guess that's kind of our relationship as far as, you know, talking to other bands.
And real quick, we got a great question from the chat here, kind of on this note from John DeMillo. He wants to know, do you get nervous, or what's it like when you go out there to pregame stab the field and literally the entire stadium and millions of people on TV are watching?
Oh man, it's crazy. Honestly, there's nothing like it. Like it's hard to describe, but I think so. If you're ever at the Coliseum, they show this pregame video before the team comes out, and they had asked me to go out and do some PR for them. So before the season had started, literally right when they laid down like the new field for the season, they asked me to come out, and I kind of did a photo shoot for athletics, and I actually got to stab the field before like my first game day, and like it felt like a practice run, but it was the middle of the afternoon. The sunset was beautiful. The entire Coliseum was empty, and you know they have like the drone on me trying to record it, and I stabbed the field, and you know I let out this like huge roar, and like it echoed through the entire Coliseum because it was empty, and like as soon as I got to that moment, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Like there's no way, and I was nervous for the first game against Rice because you know now the stadium's filled, but after that, you know, practice makes permanent, and you know every time we practice our pregame, I'll go out there and I don't know, for a lack of a better term, I don't half-ass it. Like you know, I'm working hard, and you know I go out there on the field and I do what I practice every day.
That's amazing.
Let me ask you a question about putting on that armor and the sword.
All right.
I understand that's custom made for you from a Burbank metal shop called, I think it's called the Sword in the Stone.
Yeah.
And that's got to be like turning into Superman, Clark Kent into Superman. You put that on and you're leading the band out in the Coliseum and you're all jacked up and you're ready to stab the field. I mean, is it similar? I mean, describe that.
It was in two parts. The first part is like, yes, like 100%. It's that I get fitted for the armor. Like, this is crazy. I've never worn a suit of armor before. Like, you know, I'm all of these expectations that people have. And so the first couple of times I put it on, like, yeah, like I felt different. Like I felt like man, like, yeah, I could save the world, you know? And, but you know, going through these interviews and going through, you know, all of the things that, you know, athletics especially for Hispanic Heritage Month, the opportunities I had with them, you know, I'm starting to go down. You know, we do a pregame show, like we march to the Coliseum in a cadence and we play for people. And I'm at the front of the band with our director, and I remember the first couple of games, you know, they scream, "Oh, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy." And to clarify real quick, I'm not Tommy Trojan. Tommy Trojan is the statue. I'm the drum major, and our mascot is the horse. So that's a quick clarification, but I would get Tommy, you know, and as soon as I get these opportunities, I get my name out there. I show people, you know, like, you know, who I am, like as a leader, as a drum major, as someone who cares about this school. I start getting my name out there. So, you know, we're going down Truesdale and everyone's screaming, Jacobo, Jacobo, si se puede, Jacobo. And I feel like this person, the drum major, this image, and, you know, myself, you know, it's kind of together now. So, you know, when I put it on, I don't feel the pressure of I gotta be perfect. I feel like I gotta be me and do it right. And you know, I have so much time with the sword, it feels like an extension of like my arm. So you know, to answer your question, it yes and no, I guess is a short answer.
Great, thank you. Tim?
Oh, he's muted.
Oh.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it's amazing it's really just a privilege to talk to any of the band members. I've grown my whole life. Just like, I mean, there's football and there's the band. It's just kind of all together for that game day experience.
Oh yeah.
Really quickly, what's your favorite traditional song? Because you said you're a trumpet. What do you think is the best trumpet song of the traditional songs?
Traditional as in our fight songs?
Just the traditional songs that we normally would hear during the game. Which one do you think is the best for the trumpet?
I have to say Tusk. It has to be Tusk. There's no other one. It's so much fun. We're up there. We're having fun with it, and yeah, no, it's Tusk all the way, 100%.
I mean, even Josh Pate gives shout outs to Tusk. With you guys,
everyone gives you can't not love Tusk unless you're from the other school.
And for our viewers across the country, Jacobo's referring to in 1979, USC marching band recorded with Fleetwood Mac, a double platinum album. So there's no other collegiate band across the country. And you know what? Yes, at USC, we are cocky about our football team, and we're just as cocky about our Trojan marching band. When we say we are the best collegiate band across the country, we can back it up. They performed in front of Pope John Paul II, 5 presidents, multiple Super Bowls, Grammy Awards, all over the country, including in Italy, in front of the real Coliseum. This band just rocks.
We have a picture actually of Ronald Reagan wearing one of the helmets. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture.
I haven't.
Yeah, and I think it's on display in the library too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
his actual helmet's on display in the Reagan Library.
And do you have so I mean, I know we see the tradition, like we all kick the flagpole, right? But is there not too secret of a tradition, one of your favorite game day traditions in the band that you can share with us?
I gotta think. Maybe not something everybody knows, but it's tradition that every morning, Saturday morning game day, the drum major will go around and give a speech to every single subsection of the band to get them hyped up for game day. So that's one of my like main responsibilities on game day is I got to go out there and I got to get these people hyped because it's almost like a 24-hour day, maybe even more depending on who you are and what you're doing. But it's a lot, and you look to the band to get hyped, and we have to stay hyped, and I'm the guy who starts the motor. so that's my favorite tradition, and personally, I don't know. I guess I just like talking. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
That's awesome. And then you've a really special time in the Trojan band. We kind of had the twilight of the legendary Dr. Bartner. And so you had the opportunity to be there with him, but now you're moving into the Jacob Vogel era. Is there any what would you say is probably one of the biggest differences between the two?
I will say Dr. Vogel is. I mean, just literally, he's younger. You know, he can understand, and he attempts to connect with the membership on a more maybe personal relationship. You know, Dr. Vogel is a really such a great guy, and he is promoting a culture of inclusiveness and a culture of, hey, you can talk to me if you want. Because I remember Dr. Bartner was one of those figures where it's like, oh, that's Dr. Bartner. Like, you know, like, can I talk to him? Like, was he going to say, you know, but I would say Dr. Vogel is so much more approachable. And you could kind of see it in the band too now. A lot of people, you know, are not really shy or anxious or scared, you know, to reach out to like higher level leadership. And there's so many people in the band, and there's only one drum major, you know. At other universities, they have multiple. But for here, it's just me, and a lot of the younger members will. Sometimes I feel like they're scared to ask me a question or something simple, or think I might think a certain way of them. But you know, I'm really trying to make myself even more approachable in the band, and you know, Dr. Vogel kind of as a mentor to me. Really, like I really appreciate that about him, and he's really super open for ideas. for example, we have this thing called TMB Cafe. So members of the band actually create halftime shows, and they ask for the new music that we play. So it's not just, you know, adults running the show. Like we do really have a say in what goes on.
For those folks in the chat and watching who don't know, Dr. Bartner was USC's legendary band director for about, I don't know, 55 years or so.
Yeah, I have a mug right here, actually. This is his 50th. We have a lot of merchandise.
And for anybody who doesn't appreciate how legendary Dr. Bartner was, I can tell you one of my favorite games, actually, I think it was maybe my first USC game. It was really hot, and the band were having issues in their uniforms. And Dr. Bartner went over and stole the giant fans from the football team, brought them to the band, and the football players were not going to touch that. They turned around like enraged. They saw it was Dr. Bartner, and they were like, I'm not going there. Because Dr. Bartner outranked the football players.
He's a living legend, man. Living legend.
One of the big weekends for USC students is the San Francisco Weekender, where USC travels up and plays Stanford or Cal.
Oh, yeah.
Share with our viewers, our audience, what that's like for the band, because I hear that's a pretty incredible road trip.
So for every away game, we're not going to take the entire band. We pride ourselves in taking a band to every single game, like ever. And not once again, you know, not every band does that. They don't go to every single game, but we do that. So the Weekender is special because we budget our time and our effort to bring the entire band up to NorCal. And, you know, when you're bringing a 300-piece band, like in someone else's stadium, like you're going to be heard. And like, you know, we travel very well, especially up to the Bay, you know, we're staying in state. And, it's an electric experience, you know, traveling with everyone. And honestly, it gets our younger members, our first year members very excited because, you know, like you finally made it to USC, you know, the courses aren't easy. And then you finally, you know, you get to travel with the band and you get to see, you know, all the perks and what it's like in another stadium. And, you know, and you see why USC is the greatest. So the Weekender trip is just so special.
Yeah, very special time. Tim, got another question for Jacobo?
Well, yeah. Okay, so going from a legendary band, a world famous band, what's your impressions of the Stanford band? How do Trojan band members view that catastrophe?
That's a great question.
And we especially want to know because we, you know, Stanford Tree is a friend of our USC show, so we've heard his opinions and. We love to hear you guys.
You know, we do things in a different way. I'll say that. You know, you put me in a tough spot right here. You know, they're an elite school. They're another prestigious private school. They're in the Pac-12. You know, they also have a lot of history under their belt, and you know, sometimes you just have to respect other people's traditions. And, you know, we do have our rivalry. You know, being a scatter band isn't really my cup of tea, you know, but they have a lot of people there that enjoy it. So, you know, fun is fun, really. Like, I can't judge them based off of their fun if it isn't my fun. But
who do you guys look at and say, okay, Stanford, and by the way, for people who aren't, I'll tell you, Rice described themselves as we're like the Stanford band, but classier. But who are some bands that you guys actually enjoy seeing, or you actually think do a pretty good job?
The short answer is nobody else. No, I'm kidding. We really appreciate at bowl games actually seeing the other Big Ten bands, the bigger ones. Because in the Pac-12, it's kind of hard to get a bigger band. I would say, you know, like a lot of the bigger bands will struggle to get 300, but you know, in the Midwest and the South or whatever, you know, they're pushing 400 and they even have to like cut down people. So seeing bands that are just like actually that giant. At least to me, it's very impressive, and to see how they do it. And another thing that is maybe different is we don't actually audition. You don't have to know how to play an instrument or march to be in the Spirit of Troy. We accept everyone and we teach it from scratch. So, there's also that other part of it, because we're not just doing the thing and putting in hard work, but we're also educating, and we're promoting good social life, and we're promoting, anyone can do this thing, and all you need to have is a good attitude and cheer on the team. So, seeing maybe audition-based bands with a different standard for excellence is I think a bit different, and I think it inspires maybe your membership a little bit. Like, hey, like they sounded almost as good as us. Maybe we should try better.
That's awesome.
I have a question for you. I've always wanted to know this.
All right.
After a victory in the Coliseum, we'll see in front of the student section, the ladder will be there, and
at
least one football player will go up. Who selects that? Is that you, or is that somebody else from the football team? That kind of like I think we have a picture here of you and I think Travis Dye.
Travis Dye. Oh man.
To our audience, I think this was it was from this year. Tony, you got that? Well, he'll pull it up.
Yeah, so I mean, well, first of all, Travis is just so cool. He's a really down to earth guy. He's a smart leader, and so to pick the person that goes on the ladder, it's actually one of the band's assistant directors. He helps Dr. Vogel call the game, so he has the headset on, but it's between him and actually Lincoln Riley himself. They'll talk about it after the game, and they'll say, there's always a highlight of, I think the Coliseum will announce it before the game ends, like, oh, this was the player of the game. Sometimes it's that person. Sometimes, our assistant director, his name is Ben Chua. He does a great job. Sometimes Ben will go, talk to Lincoln, and they'll discuss real quick, or Lincoln will be like, I think this player should go up. He did a really great job. Or Ben will say, hey, I think this person because X, Y, or Z, and I just stand by the ladder, and then Ben will come with the player, and I pass him off the sword, and conquest all day, baby.
So you shared Robert Lincoln Riley. Tell the viewers you were there for that other coaching staff. What is the vibe now on campus? Explain what the difference in the vibe is. You guys interact with the coaching staff, the players. You guys are like a D1 athletes. You put a lot of time into preparing for each different show every week. Kind of walk through what it's like right now at USC.
Right now at USC, I think it's a bit of a I don't want to say a culture change, but I want to say it's it's kind of a reset. After the pandemic, there are things that people forgot, or things that people are trying to bring back. And now we have a new coach. Now we have a new band director, and now we have a new drum major. And it's like you have all these things that we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not reinventing the wheel, but we're having the old traditions being honored in maybe different kind of ways. And right now on campus, it's crazy. Everyone shows up to football games. Everyone's talking about it. I walk into class, and I've had a few professors go, "This is our drum major," and then I'll stand up and wave, and people actually applaud that. And they think it's so cool. And, they ask me questions like, what's Caleb Williams like? Or, so the vibe on campus is just, it's great. It's a great time to be at USC. And I think a lot of people want to be here. And I think a lot of people, are looking forward to the season and our next game. And, we take it week by week, and just campus is great right now.
Jacobo, I appreciate that. Hey, we appreciate your time. We asked you for 30 minutes. Would it be possible? Do you have a little bit more time to possibly take some questions from the viewers and a few more from us?
Yeah, of course. I'm
Oh.
for the people.
Fantastic. Hey, I know it's a Thursday night at USC, so it's 7:30. Some things happen on Thursday nights at USC. Reportedly, I don't know.
It's a fun night at USC.
I don't know if that changed.
A really great question, because we've seen interviews. You're really close to your family. Antonio's asking, how proud of you is your family? Do they just go nuts when they get to see you out on the field?
Oh man, they're over the moon. I'm really close to my mom, and she, she'll tell me every day how proud of me she is, and she'll send me screenshots of like people I don't even know, of like, your son is doing so good, you did so well, you're making our people proud, and all of these like great things. And my mom is she's my greatest like fan, and she's also my greatest critic. She knows nothing about band culture or what being a drum major is, but she'll still be like, hey honey, like I think, hey mijo, like you could have done this better, or maybe try this, or like. So I'll always look to her for feedback, and I always know I can fall back on her, and I have little sisters, so that's always good knowing I can present something to them, and have them look up to something. So
and if any boys show up with them, you can be like, I have a sword.
You know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Actually, a really interesting question from the chat from Z Thice. Is wondering, because we've had a shift from Dr. Bartner. We went from Dr. Bartner in COVID to a new era, like you mentioned. He's wondering, are there any traditions that went away really sort of since COVID that won't come back, or have we kind of gotten everything back to normal?
So now they have the bands in the sun deck. I don't know if you saw that. We used to be in the student section, I believe. And don't quote me on this, but initially that was a COVID safety kind of thing. But we're still in the sun deck. That's kind of in the air still. Some things that went away were maybe certain songs. Not that they're totally gone, but we don't play them as much because the student section doesn't really remember what to do for them. For example, Seven Nation Army. The crowd will go back and forth, and we played it a few times last year, and they weren't really doing it. I think that's just a time thing. You take 2 years off, and they just don't remember. So it's very like minor little things that you probably wouldn't even notice, and you probably haven't noticed. But I think to take their place, we have other songs or things like that we do, and we go out of our way to preserve the things that like we really care about, like kicking the flagpole. There was a meeting that we had. There's a leadership meeting that we had, and Dr. Vogel goes, "Why do we do this? Why do we do this tradition?" And nobody knew, and he went out of his way to explain it and kind of its importance. And I think the band prides itself in carrying the traditions of the university and being the proponent of everything good that we do. That is USC.
Well, you explained that moms never really stopped giving that advice. Do drum majors ever stop giving advice? I'd asked a tree about previous trees if they had good advice for them, if they had any I'm sure you might be a family within the Trojan family, such an elite group of people. Do you ever get advice from past drum majors?
Oh man, yeah, all the time. Even today at practice, I was talking to the 2020 drum major. His name is Jake McKay, and because some of them stay on staff, at least there's one that's on staff, and it's him right now. And I asked him, I was like, I want to do a new routine, like, can you show me yours? Like, I just need some ideas. Like, there's only so many different ways you can flip a sword. And so, but a lot of them made themselves available to me. A lot of them reached out. It is an elite group. I do have like everybody's contact, like everybody that's there. There are some things like that are passed down to me. And yeah, it is really elite. No one is gonna understand what you're going through except for them. One of our assistant directors was a former drum major, and he's kind of like the mentor. His name is Sean Jenkins. really great guy. He did it for 3 years, so he knows what it's about, and he's guided pretty much all of the other drum majors. And it feels a little bit like being the Avatar. I don't even if you guys watch like Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a show, and you can connect to the previous people that were you, I guess. So I have advice from everyone, but there's also not the restraint of you have to do it this way. You can kind of do anything, make it your own, and then once you've done it and you've made it your own, you pass that down to the next person, and they can do what they want with it. So that's also what I really love about being the drum major here.
We have a really neat question from Tide Guy, who's a friend of the show and a YouTuber who covers Alabama and sort of football all over. Great channel. Is wondering what you think of HBCU bands who have a very, very different style from us. Do you ever get to see them, particularly with your time in Drum Corps International? I know you've been all around the country.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I've never seen one live in person. I watch YouTube videos. They're loud. And I'm a SoCal guy through and through, so that's never been like pushed, to me. That kind of style. I mean, like, I'm not against it. I quite enjoy it, actually. It's fun. Like the way their drum majors move, I'm like, dang, like if I couldn't do that in armor, but it's really fun, and I think it's a different kind of togetherness, a different kind of grind. And I feel like effectively at the end of the day, it's the same thing. They maybe just value different things or are pushing different things in their band. And our brand new assistant director, Dante Douglas, his undergrad alma mater was in HBCU. So, I talked to him a lot and kind of just what that experience was. And I don't know, I'm curious. If I was in the South, I would probably do it. I like band that much.
I want to recognize real quick. I want to recognize Clint Moses had a comment that you had posted, Tony. It said, Jacobo, you are an inspiration to your culture. And I just wanted to give you props that last month, or actually it just ended on October 15th, was National Hispanic American Month. And I believe you are the second Mexican American to be the USC drum major. Is that true?
Right. Yeah, it is true. Yeah.
That's an awesome. I mean, coming from one here, I'm a Mexican American, and when I went to school, I was the first one in my family to go to college. And so when you talked about your mom, my mom's looking down at me right now, and she's probably pretty amazed that I'm talking to the USC drum major. So hey, props to you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. It's surreal. It's it's so crazy because you don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm Mexican, I'm gonna be the drum major. I'm really just doing something that I love, and once you do it, you have to look back and you have to see the people around you that helped you get there, and you have to see kind of why these things happen, and it's like, why am I hardworking, determined? Why do I have this grit? Why do I have this passion for something? And it's my culture, it's my people, it's my mom, it's my grandma, it's all the things that I grew up on, and that's how the band responded, because the way we pick our new drum majors, it's a vote. The entire band will vote. You give a speech, you do your routine, and they pick the person who they think can do the job. And I was fortunate enough that they think it's me this year, and I'm doing my damn hardest to do everything that I can to satisfy all those people, and even more than that, to satisfy my people.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Are you getting a shout out?
That's my mom.
Oh, hey, Mom. Hey guys, we're gonna give a round of applause to Mom here for a job well done. Fight on, Mom. Hey, I know you. A question for you. I know you guys do. I was a Trojan Knight and on all sorts of stuff working with the band when I was in school. So you guys do all sorts of things for charitable organizations and representing the school. And Tony was wondering what kind of stuff you guys are involved in. Could you talk a little bit about all of the amazing service stuff that the band does?
There's so many, honestly, but I think our biggest one is Swim with Mike. That's a really big organization that we help with, and that we always bring a big band out to every year. And I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's mostly that the Knights help out quite a bit with that, right?
They do. I actually worked on it for 4 years.
Okay, yeah. So that's I feel like that's a campus wide thing that we work towards, and the band just has their hands everywhere, and we just love helping out where we can. And honestly, like, if it's good music and if it's something we can help out on, we'll be there.
Let me ask you a question here. What's the vibe like in the band looking forward towards the end of the year? Is there a desire to get to the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl?
There's all of that. Yep. Everyone, every single person. Rose Bowl. We're hoping, we're praying, we're fighting for it. We're screaming. We're crossing our fingers. We're fighting on. We're doing everything we can to get to those roses. And I mean, needless to say, that's the bowl game we want. That's the one we've been waiting for. That's that's us. That's home. That's home.
Can you envision yourself making the turn from Orange Grove onto Colorado Boulevard with the entire country watching?
I can't yet. I take it week by week because I'll stress myself out. But you know what? When we get there, I'll do it, and I'll try my hardest, and we'll see. We'll see.
And that's my favorite of all. I mean, I love all the marching band chants, but when they do the Rose Bowl chant, it just brings you up when they start doing that Rose Bowl chant.
The Rose Bowl,
I just love it, man.
That's my personal favorite too.
How does it go? Why don't you share it with us?
Me,
he doesn't do it solo. Hey, Rick, he doesn't do it solo. He's got to have the band behind him.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're being urged by ABC in the chat to manifest it. He believes in you.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. The Rose Bowl. T-shirts,
more money. The Rose Bowl T-shirts, more money.
I love that chant so much.
Do you know? So I was one of the few classes to never get to a Rose Bowl, and so I actually was living in the Middle East and flew back for our first Rose when we got there in 2003, and I proudly bought my T-shirt, my Rose Bowl T-shirt, thinking about the years of making that chant.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. That's and I can't wait to get there again.
All right, sell us one for me real quick. You know when the band comes in, right, and right before the game, you come to the end, you come to a stop right after the drums.
Yeah.
The band chants something. What do they say?
What?
When they come up to the line at the end, so they're coming off you guys are coming off the field, right? The drums are going, it stops. Then you guys go, and then you guys do like a salute. You guys say something. What is it that the band says?
It's at ease. It's an at ease command. It's band at ease, and then they'll respond at ease. SC, yay. That's a command. And it's kind of like a formal marching man way of telling your band that they're dismissed and that they can go and break form.
You have another question from the chat?
We've got a bunch. I have one. Have you gotten to meet Coach Riley? What's he like?
I think I've only shaken his hand really, and I've only ever heard him talk to Dr. Vogel just because I was right next to him. And he's really level-headed. He's really calm. You could tell, he's constantly thinking about something, and he knows what to do. Like whatever he has up here, it's working, and I'm really excited seeing what he's done with the team, and I'm excited to see how we move forward.
Bart has a question. He's wondering who picks the musical selections. Do you get to sometimes pick them, or is it Dr. Vogel? Who sort of and to you guys who don't in the chat who don't know this, a lot of what USC does, just like the football team, what the band does is very scripted by circumstances. But how flexible are they?
Who picks the music like in the moment, like what we're gonna play?
Sure.
Okay, so that during the game, it's kind of time based. If it's like a 30-second timeout, we have to pick something that we can finish in 30 seconds. But usually the director calls. So Dr. Vogel will call all of our charts, and sometimes he'll take suggestions. Sometimes he'll ask me. Sometimes he'll ask an assistant director. So for the regular membership of the band, it's kind of fun because you never know what he's going to call. So you just kind of have to know all of it. And we also pride ourselves in not bringing sheet music out. So, it's all memorized. It's all up here. And yeah, so it's a fun time because you never know what you're going to play, really. And you just, you go with the motion of the ocean pretty much.
And another question, so one of the things we do a USC post game chat every week after the game, and there's been some debate between folks that in the last couple of years they've introduced more sort of regular recorded music. Do you guys see that as something that's sort of like modernizing and complementary, or is that frustrating?
What are you referring to? Like the DJ that we have?
Yeah.
It's give and take. I mean, because we can't play for like 3 hours straight. That's for those non-musicians, that's difficult to do. You need a break. So there's part of that, and the DJ Malski does a really good job. That's the DJ for the Coliseum. He also like regulates kind of like what we do in between. So it's like we're gonna do a t-shirt toss, or this person is gonna kick a field goal for like $500 or something, and so that's kind of how that plays out. And also there are just certain things like the band can't do. Like we can't switch songs like 30 seconds into one song, and we are mic'd up, but it's easier for the DJ to play something through the speakers. And I mean, I'm an advocate for the band. Like we're there and we're playing and we play all the time, and we haven't played less. But I think the DJ just really fills in those gaps of things that we can't do and gives us a break maybe.
ABC's wondering, and I think this is a great question because people do not appreciate this. And he's wondering, how many hours a week do you guys practice? Because it's going to be more than these people think.
Oh, God. So we practice Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for 2 hours. 4 to 6, so 2, 4, 6. That's 6 hours Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, I consider Saturday just the entire day, to be honest, because we start at 6:30 in the morning. From 6:30, and depending on how difficult the show is or what we have going on that week, it will end at 10, anywhere from 10 to 11. So 6:30 from 10 to 11. And then it depends what the kickoff is. So if kickoff, I don't know, the kickoff will be at 4, and we meet 2.5 hours before call time, before kickoff. So what is that? Is that 1:30, 2:30? I'm not a math major. So we meet 2.5 hours before kickoff in uniform, and we play at Heritage Hall. And then we marched all over campus through Truesdale, the Associates picnic at the Coliseum. And then, and then the game happens. And the game can be like 3 hours long. And then we march back. We play Conquest because we just won the game. We play in front of Tommy Trojan. And then we go home. So 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of just practicing a week. And then the actual game itself, add maybe 4 to 5 hours.
That's a lot.
That's a time.
It's a bit, yeah.
It's a lot of time. A lot of time in addition to school.
Speaking of time, Jacobo, we really appreciate the time that you've given us tonight and our audience.
Yeah, of course.
And so I would like to wrap up here. Tim, if you've got one last question, and we can close it out.
I don't really have a question, but well, I guess I do. So do you guys take pleasure in playing tribute to Troy and just demoralizing the other team, just pounding it at them every game? How much
It's my favorite. It's my favorite song. There's no other way. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have your trumpet nearby by chance?
You know what? I don't. I have both of them in my locker.
Okay. So maybe that'd be the proper way to go out.
It would be. As a terrible trumpeter, I'll give you salute for you guys are good at it.
Jacobo.
Hey, real quick, Jacobo, I just want to say thank you so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it, and you are a tribute to the school and a tribute to all Trojans everywhere. So on behalf of all of our Voice of College Football family, thank you for coming.
For sure, yeah.
Let's get to that Rose Bowl.
I'm waiting. I'll see y'all there. There. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next week.